Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Kenny Conversation, brought to you by JEGS, the leader in high-performance aftermarket car parts. Remember to go to jegs.com for everything you need to fix your vehicle up. And they're telling me they have Jeep parts in stock and truck parts. Well, you are looking at a dear friend of mine, family friend, uh, Gordy Gundaker. Gordy, how you doing?
I'm great, Herman. I'm glad to be here. Just trying to enjoy the weather we got now. Finally we got some good weather, I guess, today. But yeah, no, I'm doing good. Just staying busy.
Well, Gordy's well here first of all, here's my disclaimer. I use this a lot over the last couple of years. The disclaimer is this. Gordy's mom and dad are Kevin and Tammy Gundaker, and they own Tri-City Speedway in Granite City, Illinois. Kevin Gundaker, his dad, is basically family to the Wallace, the whole Wallace family. His dad, Kevin, actually worked on his race car in our shop years ago before he married Gordy's mama, Tammy. So the Gundaker family is very close to the Wallace family. And before we get talking about something so controversial, I needed to make sure that everybody understood that. Gordy, I want to talk about you just for a little bit. You are a smart person. You're a college graduate. Where did you go to college?
I went to Quincy University right there in Quincy, Illinois. I went up there and played college baseball and got my business marketing degree while I was there. So I think I was focused a little more on the baseball, but I did do good in school. I enjoyed it, and yeah, it was a great university. I loved everything about going to Quincy, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
You're a really good baseball player, a great catcher. You and I love our Cardinals. I watch you on X. Give your 2 cents about the Cardinals. I admire you because, listen. Sometimes us old redneck dirt racers, we can get labeled as not being very smart. But I just wanted to start to show out and tell everybody you went to college, you're smart, you're a great athlete. You've got a lot of friends up in that area.
Yeah, I've got a ton. Playing sports growing up, you're teammates with a lot of guys, and when you go to a university like Quincy, we had 50, 60 guys on our roster, each year. So, you had guys leaving, guys coming back. So I would say between that time, we had between probably 120 guys that I, had relationships with that were friends and teammates of mine. And fortunate enough, a lot of them I became super close with. They're still great friends today, guys that I've, obviously been to their weddings or been in their weddings. And, now everybody's having kids, I've met their kids and see everybody grow up, so it was a really cool time, honestly. And I just enjoyed playing ball up there. It was a completely different relationship, I guess you'd say, in camaraderie than it is in the racing world. Cause those guys you're with every day. You're in a constant grind of working out and going to practice and doing those things, but you become like brothers with a lot of them. And that's really what happened, and so they kind of got to see the life I lived because they didn't know what racing was, so then I got to kind of teach them kind of what I did outside of baseball growing up. And you just learn about a lot of different aspects of everybody's life. So it was a really cool time. And yeah, I've got a ton of friends. I think that's one thing I don't lack by any means. I've got, I've probably been in like 3 or 4 different walks of life. So I got friends in all different places and from different areas.
You're a very good race car driver. When I think about our time together, I think about the time that I believe you won the race, the Hell Tour Summer National Race, big race at Farmer City. Maybe on the last couple laps, you took the lead from Shannon Babb on the inside. Maybe not Shannon, but then you also won the Herald Review 100 2 times.
Yeah, I won it back to back. Yeah, I sure did. Yeah, 18
Yeah.
and 19.
Yeah, so I hope everybody understands the picture that I'm painting right now. Gordy's super smart. He's a good race car driver. his grandpa, the great Gordon Gundaker, in the day, was one of the largest realtors, one of the most successful realtors in the city or in the surrounding areas of St. Louis. Gundaker Realtors. Then later on, Gundaker Better Homes and Gardens. Your grandpa, Gordon, a smart man.
Yeah, he kind of paved the way for our entire family. In all honesty, we've got a huge family, and they're all located here in St. Louis. I've got my dad's got 4 sisters, so I have 4 aunts, 4 uncles. We've got, I think, totaled up now, I want to say our family, between cousins and everything and grandkids is like 38 or 40 somewhere now in this area. And Grandpa truly laid the foundation for all of us. He kind of laid it out there of what hard work looks like, what, persevering through tough times and how to keep grinding through every day. You see that in him. I mean, he's 90 years old and he still goes to work, which is unbelievable. He just can't stop. And it's great because I think, like I said, you don't see that very much anymore. But in our family, hard work is just something that just comes natural because we've seen it our entire lives. And everything that he has achieved and everything that he has, become successful in is literally just because of how hard he works and what a smart person he is. And he'll be the first one to tell you that if he doesn't know what it is, he's not afraid to ask and listen and learn and keep learning, even to this day. So he's just an unbelievable man, just super thankful to have a grandfather like that.
Okay, let's get right to it now. We're going to take just a little bit to talk about this. Yesterday, you're looking at him right there. Gordy Gundaker made national news in the dirt racing world. So we have baseball world, football world, NASCAR world, dirt racing world. So in the dirt racing world, Gordy Gundaker made national news yesterday. He is smart and he eloquently wrote a long letter, punctuated perfect, the dots in the right place, the commas, no misspelling, easy to read, and it was long. So, Gordy, 20 years ago, your mom and dad rebuilt the Tri-City Speedway in Granite City, Illinois. It's a dirt track. They rebuilt it. It was a big half mile. You all rebuilt it. You made it a little bit smaller. You upgraded it. Millions of dollars in new concession stands, the walls that go around the racetrack. So, millions of dollars spent in upgrading the old Tri-City Speedway in Granite City, Illinois. You and your brother Trevor were born. You were born into a racing family, but yet Gundaker Realtors. So it's safe to say y'all are pretty smart. You come from a heritage of, land barons, knowing how to, your aunt sold one of my properties. So tell me, Charlie's going to put this letter up. The letter is going right now as we talk. Tell me the whole story and how you got to this letter yesterday.
Well, I mean, honestly, it started back really a few months ago. This year for us at Tri-City has been probably our worst year ever as far as getting races in. Here we are sitting June 27th, and we've had 2 races over at Tri-City, which is just unfathomable really to think about. But, I obviously at the beginning of the year, I was looking at promoting my own race, had it all scheduled. I scheduled this race back in November, yada, yada, yada. And I had a lot of doubters. I felt like from the beginning, on there, just talking about how this was never going to work and we couldn't do these things, blah, blah, blah. And then, we've gotten rained out now. Like I said, I don't even know how many times, 8, 9.
Every time.
Yeah. It's been ridiculous. And
it's been ridiculous.
And when you're a promoter and racetrack owner, it's a business, and that's the way that this all works is that, we're there to put on a show for fans and give people a place to race. But at the end of the day, it is still a business, and it's dollars and cents no matter what. And, during some of these rainouts, every time you get on social media, it is just a constant bashing about, I can't believe they canceled. Why would they cancel? They don't care anymore. They don't even want to have races. They should just sell the racetrack, get new promoters in here. The Gundakers are terrible. And, and I'm not one to get on social media and give two shits really at the end of the day about what people have to say, because I know there's so many people out there who just, that's all they do. They live a negative lifestyle. So it doesn't bother me. And I always tell my mom, you know, she takes a lot of that more to heart than I do. She'll get on there and read every comment on everything that she posts. And I always tell her, just stay off of there because you're not going to read anything good. And you know, when I canceled my race, you know, it was a big 2-day deal. I took a lot of backlash about why I canceled early. You know, I canceled on Thursday when teams were getting ready to start traveling in from 13, 14 hours away. And you know, I'm staring at 80% chance of rain. And as a racer myself, I know better than to, you know, drive halfway across the country when it looks like rain. And you know, as a promoter in that sense, what kind of person and promoter would I be knowing that I'm staring at rain? And if we get it in, it's either going to be half a night or one night and I'm canceling as soon as it rains. So, you know, I see both sides of the fence where a lot of people don't. And, you know, then mom and dad canceled Thursday night, or Tuesday night, I'm sorry, for this week for the Summer Nationals. You know, we had gone over on Monday and watered the racetrack and tilled the racetrack back up and did all the things we do to get prepped. And we were getting ready to go back over there Tuesday night because it was 98 degrees. I think it was 108 heat index here Tuesday afternoon.
Hottest day of the year.
Yeah. And so we were going to go over there about 6 o'clock to go over there and water and get the racetrack ready and grade in preparation for Wednesday. And dad was already over there and he calls me and says, "Hey, don't even bother coming over here. It is downpouring." You know, which obviously is just not what you want to hear.
The rain came in early. It was supposed to be like a 4-hour rain, and it shocked the whole community. It rained forever.
Yep. And so, I mean, it just downpoured. I mean, to a torrential downpour. And it rained and rained and rained. And by the end of Tuesday night, about 11 o'clock, we were actually sitting on the couch watching the Summer Nationals Springfield race. You know, Sam had texted mom and said, "Hey, you know, what are you thinking here?" And she said, "Listen, I just don't think it's possible with the amount of rain we got and what's coming." She said, "I think it's probably best if we just cancel it now." So they put a press release out there at, I don't know, 10:30, 11 o'clock on Tuesday night about us canceling. And, you know, you just get on there. Of course, you get on, you see the post, you see the comments rack up in a hurry. And, you know, the first couple comments I read about, you know, on there says, you know, typical Gundakers, you know, they should just sell the place because they don't care. And, you know, why would you cancel this early? I think the one person said something like, didn't even try to get the event in. They could have at least waited to try to get the race in. Well, you know, so like I said, I don't really normally get on there and care too much, but I just have honestly had enough of it.
This struck a nerve. So part of Kenny conversation is me asking questions. Why did this strike a nerve with you? Because, you know, you're kind of, you know, you're like me, you're like Nick Hoffman. We don't care. We're tough guys. Screw everybody. But why did this get your goat this time?
You know, honestly, I've just seen my parents kill themselves, you know, for 20 years over there. I've watched them day in and day out for 20 years do everything possible, you know, to give guys a place to race and fans to go sit in the grandstands without nickel and diming them and overcharging and doing these things. And I mean, they absolutely kill themselves. You know, most of the people that have seen my dad lately obviously saw that he got hip surgery. You know, a lot of people know that he was in a motorcycle wreck, you know, back in 2002, and he can't hardly get around. But I promise you right now, that man works harder than 99.9% of people in the country and will do anything he can to watch that racetrack succeed. And I've watched him days on end, no sleep. And, you know, I've watched mom do the same thing. And I watch how distraught they get when they read some of this stuff, you know, and I try to stay out of the middle of it. But honestly, I'd had enough. You know, you read some of this stuff and you watch people just kick your family down over and over again. And you finally just, you get enough of it. You know, you don't want to deal with it anymore. And sometimes it's time for a reality check to these people. You know, I don't think, I don't even know if it's their fault, you know, that they don't understand the negative energy they're pushing towards people on social media.
I think they're dumb. I'm aggressive with my verbiage. I think people are dumb. I don't think they got proper schooling. I think they've always worked for people. I've always, you know, I'm controversial because I just say it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a word called ignorant, and the word ignorant sounds horrible. but some smart people use the word, they say real nice, "You're ignorant." I'm like,
Yeah.
God, that's horrible. But ignorant means you don't have a clue.
Yeah.
In the smart ass world, these people are ignorant.
Yeah.
They're dumb, and but they're piercing with their verbiage. Their spelling is usually off. They can't spell, and they're horrible. They're horrible humans.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and that's, I think, the part that, you try to stay away from getting on there to arguing with these people, or even giving them their 5 minutes of fame, and letting them get at you. But, when it's a constant every week, it's something, and you're exactly right. I talked to a friend of mine yesterday, and his exact words that he said was, these people are uneducated. They don't,
yeah.
they're, in exactly your words, they're dumb, and that's why even on my post, I talked about calling these people idiots, because at the end of the day, that's what they are. Because it's like, you don't know what you have till it's gone, right? These people sit here and bash you and bash you and bash you. And then the minute you sell the racetrack, or the minute you say, hey, we're done, we're closing the doors, and we sell it to a concrete plant, and it's no longer a racetrack. Well, now you're the bad person for selling the racetrack, and you didn't care all along, when really it was those people that ran you out. So yeah, I've had enough of it, and these people need to kind of understand that what they say carries a little bit of weight. It doesn't make me lose any sleep at night. I slept great last night, so that didn't happen, but at the same time, it just, these, I wish that they could come put themselves in our shoes for a week, a month, a year. I mean, when you sit here and lose races like this over and over again, I guess people don't understand, this is what my parents do for a living. This is a business. And when the racetrack doesn't race, we're not making, there's no money being made there, so I've watched them pour every dollar they've ever had into this place, right? We upgraded the racetrack, the concession stands, the pit area, the lighting. I mean, I can't tell you how much it has been put in there. I mean, let alone the fact that we bought the bowling alley to put a quarter midget track on that land to let the younger kids race out there. And there's plenty of appreciative people out there, though, right? But it's not the pats on the backs that you really remember. It's the people that are sour at you constantly, right? That's what really gets to you. So, I just wanted to kind of lay it out there for a lot of people that don't get it, that just flat out don't get it, kind of what their words kind of carry. And at the end of the day, we will still drive on no matter what. My mom and dad will never just quit because somebody says something. That I think if my parents, that's the way they are, and they've instilled that in me and Trevor, and it's the same thing. We're never going to quit working, but at the same time, you just don't want to keep hearing it over and over again, because there's too many racetracks being lost, too many promoters getting out of it because they just don't want to deal with the bullshit anymore. Just flat out, they just don't, because every week it's something else. It's you can never win with a lot of these people, and like I said, 95% of the racing community is not that group, but that 5% surely tries to ruin it for everybody else.
So we're going to get to the phenomenon of the social media. But before we do that, the last thing I want to ask you is, do you see yourself, your dad, the great Kevin Gundaker, dirt late model Hall of Famer, Kevin Gundaker, down there in Florence, Kentucky. He's a great racer. Your dad's got to be 70 now.
Yeah, he'll be 70 next year. He's 69 right now.
Do you see yourself taking over Tri-City Speedway, or what do you think?
It's funny, because if you had asked me this last year, I would have said no, just flat out. And after last year, obviously I had my little girl, and we kind of moved back home in a sense of not racing the Outlaws, and changed up our schedule a little bit. I got to be able to spend some more time with mom and dad here at the racetrack, and obviously was promoting my own event. And that was the topic of conversation here probably 2 or 3 months ago, kind of about what the plans for next year look. And I pretty much told mom and dad, I said, I really think I'd want to be a part of this, and kind of, maybe not so much take over, but play a big role in working together with them. my mom does a great job up front running the business, taking care of the concession stands, all those things. So I don't think I could ever do it without her. But I do
Yeah.
think that I do think that I would love to promote. I've been very fortunate to travel to a lot of racetracks across the country and meet a lot of great promoters like the Kosiskis and Matt Curl. Everybody up there at Eldora and Larry Booz and guys that just do a great job, across the board. And to me, I think it's going to take someone like me in my shoes that's got a real passion and love for the sport to make it grow and continue on a path that we want it to be on and not let it just trickle down. Just like I think Kyle and Brad are doing there with High Limit. They took two racers to put that together, and there's a lot of drama around that. Was it good? Was it bad? I don't know, but it was packed at Lake Ozark Speedway last night. So they're not doing anything too bad. So I think I would love to, and I've had real conversations with Mom about it. And, I think moving forward, that's kind of a plan, is kind of see where it goes and to keep promoting some. And, Trevor wants to be a part of helping out over there. So I've been fortunate as I've done this. I've had some people kind of reach out and say they're willing to help, and Aaron Draghi, who has helped me do the racetrack over there since April, has pretty much said he was willing to help me anytime I needed his help. And he's been over there every day we're working on the racetrack. And I, can't be more thankful for a guy like that. But, I think as I've grown a little bit over the last few years, I think this is something I've really grown a passion for and definitely want to kind of go for here in the near future.
Okay. Excellent. I think we've kind of laid the groundwork out. We've talked about your education, where you come from, the racetrack. What I want to move into now is I talked to what I think is one of the greatest promoters of all time, Bob Sargent. I told Bob, I said, Bob, you're not a flashy promoter. You don't pay very well, but you're consistent. You saved Terre Haute. You saved Milwaukee. Bob Sargent is known for stadium racetracks, but he's also known for making money and keeping racetracks going. One thing Bob said when I talked to him on Kenny Conversation was that social media, now this is specific right here, social media is killing local short tracks. Now, hold on. Social media is not killing the race at Eldora. It's not killing the World Finals, but social media is killing the local Saturday night short track because it becomes like Peyton Place. If you're outside of a restaurant long enough, don't go in there, the food's bad. Or, so with that being said, we are in a new phenomenon now. We are in a new era where I don't believe God had us born this way, but the phenomenon of the feel good of the negativity. I hate them. I'm going to sit home tonight watching on TV and talk shit about that racetrack. It makes them feel so good. It's a euphoria. So here we are now. It's the way it is. We can't change it. But because of what you went through yesterday, I thought, you know what? I just wonder if I ought to put a headline on all my social media. You cuss me, you're gone. I don't mind debating. I don't mind being wrong. But the way they MF you and your track and talk so degradable to you, my question is where are we at in the era of local short track negativity and social media bashing for the local short tracks?
It's set an all-time high. People will be sitting in your grandstands bashing you, and I think the problem with social media, right, is that you can hide behind a computer screen. You can hide behind what you're typing out here on social media and do all those things without having to face what is reality, right? Like if, like me and you, right, if we had something to say to somebody, we'll just flat out say it. But somebody like that, they don't have to. They can get on social media and hide behind a page or whatever they want to do. They can make a fake account. They can make a fake name. They can do literally whatever they want. And the problem with that is, at the end of the day, is that people read all those things, right? So if you get on there and just constantly bash somebody on their posts and say what a terrible place this is, or they did this, or they did that, you're running people off. And that's the reason why in the St. Louis area, we don't have local racing anymore, right? It's why we don't have it at Tri-City Speedway.
Stop right there. Okay, I wanted to point this out. All short tracks are closing. It's a horror. Listen, everybody says Eldora, World Finals, all this is all good. But nobody debates what we're going to say right now. We've lost Lake Hill Speedway, Valley Park, Missouri. We've lost St. Charles. We've lost Godfrey. We've lost Belleville. We've lost 4 racetracks in our era. Your racetrack has gone to, specials only. Brownstown is specials only. Lincoln, Illinois is specials only. Jacksonville is specials only. There's a few here and there. I hear that. Now, straighten me out and respond right here, everybody. I hear Montpelier, Indiana, Gas City. I'm hearing all these tracks. I see a post yesterday from Kankakee. Gordy, do you think local short tracks are all but gone? They're just, Bob Sargent says they're nosediving in a hurry.
Oh, they are. I mean, it's obvious, and it sucks because that's really why, don't get me wrong, that's why our sport thrives, right? When our sport was killing it in the 90s, in the 2000s, it's because every night you went on, every Friday and Saturday, when you went to Peevely, you went to Godfrey, you went to Tri-City, the grandstands were full, right? People were dying to get to the racetrack. Now that is not the case, and the era of social media has caused that, and I don't know if there's ever a way to save it. Right. I wish we could go back maybe 10 years and we could probably save it. I don't think saving it now is a real possibility. The only way it's going to get saved, I guess, in a sense, is that every other racetrack is going to close down. You're going to have 2, right? That could probably be about the only reason that you could get local racing back, because you'd have nowhere else to go. But by then, I think everybody's going to be run off from the sport anyways, because you're running out of promoters who are willing to deal with the constant day-to-day bullshit and having to pay out all this stuff when they're not getting support from the fans who are in the stands, right? So I don't think it's the racers. I think racers do bitch and they moan, and that's part of what comes with it. But the racers still show up. We might complain one week about how it was rubbered and we burn up all these tires, and then we're still just dumb enough that we go back the next week anyway. So it doesn't really matter, right? The racers aren't going anywhere.
I want to say this. The fan watching right now is going to say, yeah, but you deserve the ass chewing because of this and because of that. I want to explain to all the fans, that's not what we're talking about. What we're talking about, race fans, is the racetracks are closing. They're already shut down. So you lose on that debate with me and Gordy.
Yeah.
They're already shut down. So see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, do you see Tri-City just specials from now on? Will you ever go back to local racing or try it?
I'm not so sure that I wouldn't say we wouldn't try it, because it's something that I would, if there was a way to visit it and make it work, that I would absolutely love to, because that's where the racers are, right? You listen to all the great adages. Where do racers come from? They come from the street stocks and in the modified ranks, and that's where they start. Well, when you don't have local racing to go do that at, well, where are they going to come from, right?
Yeah.
They're going to come from asphalt and go-karts, and that's going to be about it. And they're going to run Legends cars, and that's right. That's not what we want, right? It's tough to grow those guys when they don't have places to race. So I'm not saying we won't ever go back to that. But there's going to have to be a test run or a trial and error type deal on how do we get people back in the grandstands on a constant basis. And, I think I would love nothing more than to have a Friday night that's got 5 classes of 4 cylinders and street stocks and sportsmen's and B mods and A mods and late
the
mods.
good old days.
Right. Where everybody shows up in those things. And And there's a whole nother topic that we can get into on that side that, that changes some of that. And it even comes back to the racers a little bit, right? Of everything now, even on the late model side, has turned into such a business, right? And it's, what used to happen. I remember when I was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, and we would race at Peevely on Saturday night with Dad. And at 3 a.m, you would look in the pit area, and the pit area was full. There was haulers, not haulers. There wasn't haulers. There was open trailers and a 28-foot enclosed trailers, and everybody would park together. We might be parked down at the end with our rig next to Ed Dixon and a couple other guys, and guys would pull their trailers down to park next to us after the night was over to hang out, and guys would be drinking and bullshitting and carrying on till 3, 4 in the morning. I don't know how many times we left that place when the sun was up. And those are the days I remember, right? And I know the times have changed and things are very different, but at the same time, that's when local racing was at its best. How do we get back to that? I don't know. There's got to be some solution, and I would love to get back to it. I would think that we can get back to it. The B modified class is doing fine. They've got plenty of racers, so. But there has to be some kind of, give and take at some point to get that back. And I would think that we'll probably visit that at some point, because at this rate, we're just going to keep losing racetracks if we don't bring them back, right? Because those are the racers that keep the racetracks alive, without the big races. So, man, I hope so, because I don't want this sport to go anywhere, and I don't want to see it die out. And I don't want to see any more racetracks die out. But, unfortunately, the way that everything is trending, that's going to keep happening until something changes, whether it be on social media or, whether it be with the racetracks and the fans that go to the races. So there's got to be a common ground. We just got to find it.
All right, everybody, you heard it. Let's wrap this up. The local short tracks are dying soon. You won't be able to go to your local short track. We could have 6 races a year. There's a small percentage of you out there that have destroyed it through social media, beating people down to where they're like, it's not worth it anymore. As far as the argument, well, they got to be strong. They got to take the ass chewing. It ain't worth it. They can go sell homes for that. The only reason people own these local short tracks is because for the love of the sport. Same as you don't have to go to the racetrack. So it's a sad time right now, everybody. Respond right here. Explain why all the tracks in America, all of them, explain why they're all shutting down. And by the way, respond right here on what track has shut down. It's in the hundreds now. We lost Chattanooga. We lost Boyd Speedway down there in Chattanooga. All the big ones are shutting down. Local short track racing is dead and gone. It's official. They might run every other week here and there. But Gordy, listen, thank you so much for being on the show.
I appreciate you having me, Herman. I really do. I love you to death. And I was pumped whenever you called and asked me to do this. There's nothing more that I love than sitting here and talking with you. Like we said before, we could do this for full on hours. No issue.
Well, my strategy at the end there was to tell her, be very indignant. And my strategy just now was everything's closed. Everything's horrible. So let's see how the fans respond now. And like I said, all your tracks are shutting down. And you might have a couple open now. So that's a smart ass statement right there, but it's true. And listen, everybody, we are in podcast form. You can listen to Gordy Gundaker on the way to work, and you can listen to him on the way back home. Until the next Kenny conversation, we'll see you next time.